This is actually one of my favorite topics that I want to talk about today. The difference between a boss and the difference between a leader. It's very important for us to understand the real difference. Everybody thinks that being a boss is commanding people and telling people what to do and just sitting behind your desk, putting up your feet on top of your table and having your secretary bringing you coffee. If you want to venture out of this video, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. I want to hear your thoughts and see who is the real boss and who is the leader. What's the difference between a boss and a leader? That's the question everybody may think about but not really have the answer to. The difference, in my opinion, is a leader is somebody who leads from the front, and a boss is somebody who sits and on their high horse in the rear and commands their people or their employees what to do. A leader is Alexander the Great, who led his army from Macedonia all the way to Persia. A leader is somebody who is in the front lines fighting. A leader is somebody who says, hey, instead of you do it, he or she says, let's do it together. A leader is somebody who enables their employees and the people they're working with, giving them opportunity to grow in their work, to grow in their finances, to grow in their intelligence, just to grow overall as a human being. Just because you have that title of a boss or that little business that you have is yours, it doesn't mean that anybody is beneath you. A great leader is somebody who enables the people around them to grow with them. A great leader is somebody who inspires the people they work with. A great leader is somebody who is respected, not feared. A great leader is somebody who is also loved at the same time, not feared. Machiavelli says, I'd rather be feared than loved. I say actually the quite opposite. According to Gallup poll, 50% of employees quit their job not because of pay, not because of hours, but because of bad managers, because of bad bosses. People have an ego problem. People have this issue of thinking that they're the shit when they're not. They forget that 5-10 years before they had that boss title, they're working for somebody else. Leaders are emotional thermostats. It's not only about writing checks or telling people what to do, but you also have to understand the person in front of you, what they're going through. For instance, if your employee is going through something, make sure you acknowledge that. Make sure you're emotionally there for him or her, for that employee to understand, my boss, my leader is there with me. They're on the same page. They're going to go through this with me. And if I need to take a day off, they're not going to be scared to ask you. They don't need to write a 2-week in advance notice, hey boss, can I take a day off? A leader needs to be calm. A leader has to be steady. A leader has to be positive almost all the time. A leader is somebody that regardless of what problems they have at home or outside of work, they never bring it here. That's how much disciplined you have to be. And that discipline is going to translate to your employees or to the people that are working with you. Because if they see you're that disciplined, well, guess what? They're going to try to be just like you. They're going to try to emulate and imitate the same actions that you're taking in order for your work or your business to go forward. What does it mean to be a boss? A boss is somebody who's arrogant. A boss is somebody who thinks he or she is the shit. Remember the movie The Devil Wears Prada? Everybody hated her. Everybody. They loved the scene. They loved working in that environment because it was a big deal for anybody working in the fashion world, but everybody hated their boss. And at the end, remember what happened? She acknowledged that emotion is something that has to be recognized. At one point in my business, there was a time when I was speaking to people that were working with me in a not normal way. And when I say not normal, they would make a lot of mistakes. It would anger me a lot. It would agitate me a lot. And I would transfer that anger and that frustration towards them while speaking with them in a high tone or in an aggressive manner. And because they know they made a mistake, they weren't really able to answer back. But then I understood that that's not the right way. Even though people make mistakes, and so do I, and so do you, there's no need for you to speak with them in anger. There's no need for you to speak with them in frustration. That will not diffuse the situation. That will just, add fuel to the fire, and that will either belittle them, that will make them emotionally feel that they're not qualified to be, working with you. And I think regardless of what business you are in, it doesn't matter. You can be in private, banking, you can be a merchant, you can be a mechanic, you can be whatever, you can be in HVAC, whoever you talk to, and regardless of the type of mistake they make, it's very important for us to be emotionally and mentally there and prepare ourselves to speak to them in a way that they're human. There are certain things that you need to be a great leader. One of them, you have to be respected. Not liked, not feared, but respected. Respect is something that is not commanded. Respect is something that is earned. And the only way you earn respect is by doing the things that you preach. Being positive is something else that you need to have as a leader. Positivity brings this emotional stability to the workplace. Lastly, leadership is not about control. Leadership is about connection. Connection is something so important that people working with you will do things out of love, out of respect. They will do it willingly, not because they have to, but because they want to. And when people do things when they want to, trust me, they do it much better. Everybody's in the grind. Everybody's out there to make money. Everybody's trying to see how can they become the next millionaire, 100 millionaire, a billionaire possibly. But one thing that gets in their way is arrogance. People are arrogant about certain things, that clouds their judgment. Would they get a little bit of success and they are on top of the world? And that is the last thing you want to be on. That's the last feeling you want to feel on. And that's the last thing a leader needs. A leader cannot be arrogant. A leader has to be humble. Humility is something that is so important. You know who's the most ideal leader? And this is somebody that the entire world knows, Jesus Christ. He is my leader. He's humble. He preached love. He preached humility. He preached forgiveness. And if you have those traits as a leader, as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, I guarantee you, it will be impossible for you to fail. If you have that resilience as he did, you look in people and find greatness, it's impossible for you to fail. That is a leader. Jesus, for me, Jesus Christ is the number one leader, number one example, because those traits that he invoked in the book, those traits that he invoked in me and into millions of others, is something that can never be taken away. That is something that can only be transferred into other people, that can be transferred into your business, it can be transferred into your daily life, into friendship, into family, and at the end, inspire and help others to go forward. That is a true leader for me. I want to hear your thoughts. What makes a great leader? Are you a great leader or are you a boss? That's what I want to understand.